Right. But that's kind of one of those optional rules. You know what I mean?
It really shouldn't be an optional rule. Like all houndsmen should abide by that rule. It'd save a lot of people.
What rule are we talking about?
Don't put
the dog box rule.
Box. Yep.
Oh, don't put something on top of the dog box?
Yeah, you'll forget it. You know how many collars I've kicked off the top of my truck over the years? I've got two bad stories. There was
let's hear one bad story.
I'll give you one. My buddy came up from California to go hunting with us, and I was in a hurry trying to scramble and get out there. Everybody else was already in the woods, and I had a bag with some really cool garment equipment in it.
A bag?
No, a whole bag.
You know what kind of bag I'm thinking of? Is this the type of bag we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing we're rated MA or whatever it is, mature audiences only, Jason.
No, like it's a big bag. Like, you know, the Garmin tote bags?
Like a kilo? Or, I mean, what are we talking about?
No, not that kind. Good Lord. I'm talking like your Garmin carry bags, the field bags.
Well, it is you. I mean, you're talking about a bag, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that type of bag.
No, not a bag.
You're like, no, this is a big bag.
No, a bag, yes. And it was full of every stitch of hunting equipment I owned as far as like that new 550 Plus that just came out. I had all my stuff in that bag. And I made it to the woods, and I about had a freaking heart attack because that thing was not anywhere I could find in my truck. And I remembered setting it on top of my dog box before I left the house. Well, apparently my memory sucks because I called my wife and she says, no, your bag's sitting right by the back door. You're an idiot. Come home. So I ran home and got it. But I thought I lost like...
So you didn't
I can't even tell you what was in the bag. It was not a good thing to lose at the time. Buddy, you can relate.
Oh, I've lost so much crap. It don't even bother me anymore. Well, I lost that gun.
Don't put it on top of the box and never leave your doors open because dogs will always jump in it. Like those are the two cardinal rules.
I had to hike back into a tree, and it was a shitty hike just to get a pair of binos and one of them fur hats. I got one of them little fur hats as well.
Oh, the trapper hat.
Yeah, a little trapper hat and a pair of binos that I lost at a tree. And I was, it was like 4 foot of snow at the time. I was snowshoeing with Bradley. And it's kind of weird to go back to a tree. Like, when you see the tree and it's like 4 foot of snow and you're getting your ass kicked and snowshoes are falling off and you're falling in this. I mean, it was a miserable hike into this tree. Like, I don't want to just keep reliving it, but. And then you skip to that son of a bitch in the summer, and it's like, this is beautiful.
The best walk.
This is why these cats live here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I won't give any names out or exact location, but I can tell you guys on the western end of the UP where there's a handgun that was lost while we were chasing after a walking bear. So, and we know roughly where it was, but it was in such a place where nobody wanted to go back for it.
Yeah. It's got a gun. You're really thinking about it. I've lost two. I've lost one. I stuck on the dog box or the toolbox, one or the other.
See, I'm telling you, it's a rule.
And I finally got that was a 9. And I had so many boxes of ammo with 9. Every time I open my safe and I see all these boxes of 9mm, and I'm like, I got no 9mm, but I got a bunch of ammo for it. I bet you that was 20 years ago. I don't know. It was when I first started. I was hunting with Rod. We were bear hunting on a deal, and then So,
dude, that's how you end up on like TV, cold case files or something. Somebody found your gun somewhere and like
right.
Ugh.
Yeah, good thing you keep those ones with the serial numbers filed off, right?
They find those. It's like, well, okay. Some druggie was up here at the gate.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Found Jason's bag and your gun.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this interview. I had, my throat was closing up. I had to go get that cat sealed. I got that the one bobcat I had, and I'm driving home. We're driving back to work, and my throat starts clogging up, and I get in the itchy throat. Like an allergic reaction.
But he's allergic to cats.
Are you kidding?
No shit. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to dogs and cats. Figure that out. And pineapple. and grass. So those are the 4 things that I know that I'm allergic to: dogs, cats, pineapple, and grass. And I freaking love pineapple, dude. Like, I'm gonna.
Does it like make you choke out?
If I die one day, guys, it's gonna be because I was eating pineapple, bobcat hunting with dogs, and I laid down on the grass for a nap. Okay, that did me in.
That's awesome.
I'm not giving up the dogs. I'm not giving up the bobcat. I'm not giving up the pineapple. The weed I can do without. I'm not even grass. I don't care about.
See, and buddy, you didn't get in any trouble. They just set you up an appointment because you were late.
Oh, it was so. You didn't hear Elijah. So in Oregon, you got 5 days to put a CITES seal on a bobcat after the season closes.
Yep.
Okay. So I ended up. The only cat I harvested last weekend, and it was a bad deal. I had dogs must have gone through some blowdowns or something, and I had 3 dogs come back with holes in them, like not from a fight, but from like a stick or something. They must have ran through. I can't figure out what it is. I'm probably gonna go hike up into that stuff in the summertime and go, what the hell did those dogs get into?
Yeah.
Right.
That's gonna be one of those on snowshoes. I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But then whenever the snow falls off, it's like, oh shit, there's a bunch of sticks and maybe there's some slash or something where they cut some slash or thinned or I don't know. But something they went through tore them up. So anyways, long story short, I got that cat and I got 5 days after the season, right? So that was Tuesday was the end of the season. And so I had from Wednesday to yesterday. So I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday to get that bobcat sealed. Well,
and of course he procrastinated.
Right.
I flew out Thursday to Michigan. Oh, procrastinating, Jason.
One day you could have done it.
So Wednesday we're getting ready to go to Michigan because we went to Michigan. We got Elijah Keller with us, Vice President of Michigan. We got some stories. So Wednesday was the only day before my trip to Wisconsin, and I was packing and getting everything ready to go to Michigan Bear Hunters Association over there in we flew into Traverse City, and I was like, no problem. I'll get back Sunday. Monday morning, I'll set the appointment for it, and I'll either go in Monday afternoon or I'll go in Tuesday. I didn't get back.
Sunday was sucky.
Sunday was sucky. Sucky Sun. No, it wasn't sucky for me.
Yeah, it was pretty good for you. It was
we got to see the countryside.
Yeah, we drove across the great state of Michigan.
I heard you tried to kill my boss.
There's a little truth there.
He's not even going to deny it.
There's so many stories. Yeah, he's tried to kill me. We're going to have to start from, I don't even know where we start on this story, but
I think we start with it. It was a great event. And
it was the really amount of
stuff you guys ran through there in the organization was mind-boggling. Like, really, you guys put on a great event. I encourage anybody near the area, away from the area, go check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. We everybody comes together and there's no one person you could put. It's everybody is what makes it, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So you had your event in what town?
That's in Bel Air, Michigan, at Shanty Creek Resort is where we have it at.
Yeah.
So
me and Jason flew into Traverse City, and it's about an hour drive from the airport there. It's kind of a hard event to get to be honest with you, man. That is not an easy place to get to.
You gotta want to go there.
Yeah. maybe for you guys over there, but for us coming in, it's like 3 legs. I gotta fly into Seattle, and then I fly to Detroit, and then from Detroit to a little town called Traverse City. That's the problem right there. That Traverse City Airport.
Best airport of the whole trip.
So we're flying in, and I'm doing the math because I've been to your event one more time, and I'm like, these guys don't get their event done till like midnight. You know what I mean? For the raffle, which is a long time.
That's a long day.
When you're losing, it's a really long time.
Tell me about it.
Dude, I didn't wear any guns.
Both your names. Well, not Buddy's. I didn't hear Buddy's name, I guess.
Right. No, I heard a series of numbers with your name.
Yeah.
What did I win? Elijah.
Oh, I won a thing to deburr dogs. It's like a mat that you wipe on your dogs, pull burrs off them.
It's like a ShamWow for your dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then my boy won. He won a bunch of stuff. I let him use my tickets. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm in the plane ride there on Thursday. I'm doing the math, and we're supposed to fly out 6 a.m. Sunday morning. And so I'm like, dude, like 6 a.m. You got to be there an hour and a half early. So I'm like, okay, that's like 4:30, right?
Hour drive.
My math is right. Yeah, an hour in that small airport. You need to be an hour, right? But let's just figure you don't want to be late. So I'm like, okay, it's an hour drive, so we got to leave no later than 3:30. You know what I mean? 3:45. You got to pull out of the airport. Yeah. When it's snowing and ice, you might want to leave a little earlier, right, Jason?
Like, yeah, I left a lot. I wouldn't say a lot earlier, but yeah, there was some snow and there was some ice.
So I'm looking at the things on the plane ride there, and I'm like, dude, I don't know that I want to try to hassle this 6 a.m. flight after doing this. So working all day, and Jason's like, oh, no problem, we'll just stay up all night. I'm like, the shit we will. Like, this old man ain't staying up all night, huh?
There's no drinks to be had either.
No.
Oh, no.
No, you're not gonna have it. No.
Right.
So I'm thinking, I'm like, man. So I do the text Delta app or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm texting. I was like, hey, can you push my flight out? And they can change it. And so I get my flight changed to the 12 p.m. So noon, basically a noon flight out of there. And I asked Elijah, you got me a ride hooked up. Your wife said she'd take me, and I'm like, okay, awesome. And Jason, I offered for him, and he's like, nope, I want to be home early Sunday. That
was gonna put me home before Buddy flew out, and I'm like, no, I'm ready to go home.
Jason's like, I'll just stay up all night. I'm whatever. I'm like, okay. Leave his plane ticket intact. So he's gonna fly out. So we make a plan. I'm like, Jason, you take the car, you get back, because it's going to be hard to find a ride at 2 a.m. I can just tell you right now out of that place.
A sober ride at that. I mean,
he wouldn't have found one. You better off with a unicorn.
No, there was none to be had.
No, it wasn't going to happen. So, I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, dude, there's no way. So I'm like, the only way I can do it is if I can get a ride at 10 a.m. I can get a hungover ride. I'll take one of those.
Yeah.
Right? There's none of those available at 10 or 2 o'clock in the morning. There ain't none of those available.
Yeah. True story.
So I'm like, okay, I got me lined out. So Jason, we do the event. It was an awesome event. We'll talk some about that and what you guys are doing. It works out perfect until about dinner time.
Until it didn't. Then it got real
until about dinner time. And it's right before dinner and I'm hungry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't realize.
You work up an appetite back there.
You guys need a lunch service out there. You know what I mean? Like, something's got to happen for lunch.
Well, I mean, like, yeah. Yeah, because it's all.
I had Elijah and Buddy lunch service.
Yeah, next time I'm buying some Subway sandwiches, I'm just going to throw them in my pack or something. I'm like, something. So anyways, it's dinner time, and I'm looking at this meal. You know the worst part about dinner, Elijah? Could you get this changed?
What's that?
So they have. Okay, I'm gonna spell it out to people who are listening. This is gonna be the worst podcast ever.
That's probably the best podcast.
It's already jumping all over the place. I can't even tell one story because I got another story and everything gets in the way. Okay, everything. It's like I can't.
A lot happened.
My story that I want to finish is like 4 stories away. I can't even get to it yet.
As long as you can tie it back in, you're good.
So you sit down and you're starving, and I mean starving. And there's some salad. And when you're the last person at the table, everybody's already eaten the salad dressing. So it's like, well, I'm trying to lick the salad dressing out of the bowl or whatever.
But what's next to that salad, buddy?
It's a freaking piece of chocolate cake. And in my mind, I'm thinking, is this like first dessert or is this like the dessert? Because I don't want to ruin my dessert. But if this is like first dessert and there's another dessert coming, I'm going to chow this cake down.
Right. Roll the dice, baby.
Oh, yeah. And so yeah, you sit down, there's a chocolate cake sitting in front of you. And that's been sitting there all like for the last hour. Like, why they bring dessert out first, I don't know, but they shouldn't do that.
Manpower.
Oh.
Sitting on the table. But it was pretty cruel.
Yeah, I don't think they used to do that, but I don't really remember. Because usually by the time I hit that point, I'm with you guys several beers deep and ready for dinner. So it's like you don't really remember how long dessert's been there.
And I learned Buddy really likes chocolate cake. I did not know that about Buddy until this trip.
Man, I love me some chocolate cake. Yes.
Good to know.
So anyways, we were sitting down. I'm looking at this chocolate cake, trying to talk myself out of just eating my dessert first. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, dude, that was going to be really good after my meal. And so little bit of ranch dressing I got out of the thing, and I'm considering licking the dish or whatever. And we get the text that Jason's flight got canceled. And I'm thinking,
we're sorry. Your flight has been canceled.
And so I think I said something like, "Oh, you had a chance to book in with me, right?"
Yeah,
like,
you did.
You could have been on my flight, and there wasn't been a problem. So I'm texting. I was actually texting. Oh, I was already texting Delta because I couldn't check in. It wouldn't let me check in because of my flight change or something. So anyways, and they're like, "Oh, well, you have to check into the airport. When you get to the airport, you check in." And I'm like, whatever. And then about that time, the flight got canceled. I was like, "Oh, by the way," because I already waited like 15 minutes to get to that point. This agent was probably like, "Okay, have a good day." And I'm like, no, wait. Would you check on another? So I get this agent had to deal with me for like an hour over text back and forth because we're trying to change Jason's flight now because he got canceled. There was no availability on my flight. In fact, as I'll tell you later, they were overbooked on my flight.
This story gets really awesome.
Yeah,
we'll
talk about that in a minute. That's another story coming down. And so we're going back and forth, and so they ended up switching him to United, right? Because you flew United home.
Worst experience ever. United, if you hear this, I'd really like to talk to somebody. It was bad. Friends don't let friends fly United. # that shit.
What happened in United?
Good to know.
My whole story could take a whole podcast.
Oh, well, let's just start with the Traverse City. So
I left like Jason, 7 hours early.
So we get Jason.
No, before I even
Jason
get there,
booked on this flight. They're like, okay, well, we can get him into Eugene, right?
Right, which is 3 hours north of my house, which, you know what? I'm going to take it. It's in my home state. I can drive the rest of the way.
So Jason's truck is an hour south of his house at an airport in a town called Medford, right? So he flew out of Medford. So he's got a truck in Medford.
Not me, my wife with 3 kids in tow. Like, she had to come get me.
Loving it.
So they're like, we can get you into Eugene because they're like, oh, it's going to be Monday before they can get him out. Right? He's going to be in Traverse City for Monday. And Jason, I could look at it. He's like, no, I got to get home.
We had family coming into town.
They pitched something to him, and he took it. He's like, yeah, I'll take that.
I was taking anything to get me home ASAP, man.
So he takes the Eugene one. He's like, no problem. I can get somebody to pick me up at Eugene.
I'll walk home at that point. Like, when I'm ready to go home, I'm getting home.
So we book him into Eugene. And I'm like, okay, cool. So he's still got the 6 a.m. flight. He still can't sleep.
Yeah. And you're thinking about this before you're looking forward to a whole night of dinner and enjoying time with friends and a couple of Coors Lights. But no, you got to drive to the airport at 1:30 in the freaking morning in the snow. Snow's dumping for a little while we were in the banquet. So it's kind of like when you're late for work and you got to drive 15 minutes. Is a lot better than being late for work and knowing you got to drive an hour and a half because you got that whole time to just think about it. Yeah. So all night, it's like in the back of my head. And I timed it just right that I got into Traverse City and started hitting. There's a couple little bars on the way there. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, about 2:00 when everything was slowing down and the cops were out like crazy. So I'm driving like I hate snow, first of all. I'm going to tell everybody that. You all should know that by now. I don't like driving in it. So I'm driving slow, and you got cops looking for people that are drunk. So I'm thinking I'm going to get popped on the way to the airport anyway.
Right.
Get all the way through, dump the rental car.
You didn't fill it up, by the way.
Huh?
You forgot to fill it up, by the way.
I filled it up like 6 miles out.
Really? They charged me $51 for that. They said
well,
it wasn't
you should
full.
Get on the phone with frickin' Hertz, too. We can add them to the Delta list because I filled that thing up. I got the gas receipt for you.
I got the email. They were like, yeah, the fuel charge of $51. I was like, I thought, bastard.
I drove it at tops 12 miles after filling up because every gas station on the way there was closed.
Oh, they totally swindled me.
Oh, yeah. Everything closed down there. So I'm like,
did you say
there's an open one? I'm going to get it. I got a receipt for you. Yeah.
Well, send it to me.
I will. Yeah, we'll fix that too.
Damn it. This is getting better. I got another 50 bucks back.
Yeah, the story's still getting better.
Right?
Okay, well, that's cool. I was just sitting there. I wasn't going to say anything because you were driving your ass to the airport at 2:00 in the morning. I wasn't going to be a dick.
Oh, you should have.
Then I still was a dick because I mentioned it, right? So it still came out. I couldn't help it.
You can't help it.
But at least for a couple of days, I held my tongue. I was like, dang, what the hell, Jason?
No, I
thought you said you
appreciate
filled
it.
up. Anyway,
I'll get some sleep before I chew his butt.
Yeah, get a couple of that. Take a day. Let's get a little bit of space between the trip.
Man.
Okay.
So yeah, I fill up the car. I go to the airport, drop it off, dump the keys, and walk in. And that's when you realize there is nothing in that area. There's nothing. No food. Everything's locked down. Can't get through security. So you got there early for no reason. There's a nice vending machine in the corner.
You can't get in security. You can't check in your bags or anything.
Nothing. I'm just there with my stuff.
Bar.
Is anybody else in the airport?
There was 2 people working, yes. And they said, we can't help you with anything. So I went and I sat by this vending machine. At that point, I got myself a Red Bull. Stay
warm with the vending machine.
Yeah. Well, I needed something. I've been up. We didn't sleep a whole lot. We got up Saturday morning. And you got to remember jet lag, right? Because you guys are 3 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
So 3:00 is like really midnight.
Right. So I can handle the late night, but the early morning, even us getting up at 7, I'm like, that's 4 a.m. at home. This kid doesn't do early morning. And then you're up all night. So by the time I get to the airport, I'm going on no sleep. I'm chugging a Red Bull just to stay awake so I don't miss my flight, passed out in the corner like a hobo. They finally open this thing up. And you get through security in about 2 seconds. That was awesome. And here I am waiting for my flight.
What time did they open the gates at?
Time was irrelevant after that long without sleep. I don't even remember. But I know I had ample time to listen to 2 full podcasts. So I'm going to say at least I was there 2 to 3 hours prior to security opening.
Oh, really?
Easily. Yep.
Yeah, security probably didn't open until 5:30 or 6.
Yeah, and the whole thing was everything changed, so I couldn't get it on the app. I had to wait for my gate to open. So then I'm one of those guys that likes things planned. I'm packed 3 days before I leave. It's get in, get out, very strategic.
Get in and maybe get out.
Yeah, that's how this trip worked out. The first flight wasn't bad. We actually got on it, but I knew it set the tone for the day because we were late, and it was not a good thing.
So your flight take off on time or what?
No, it was a little late, and I thought they said engine repair. I don't know. I had a headphone in, but it was enough that I was a little concerned about it. I really don't know what was the real problem, but in my head,
you need that little 15-second button on the thing. Hold on.
Yeah, back up.
Can you back up and say that again? That's the hardest thing when you hear something like that, and you're half-assed ignoring it, and then you're like, I need the reverse button. I need to re-listen.
It was horrible. Because that's what I heard. I seriously heard engine problems or something like that, and I'm sure it was de-icing. It was horrible weather. But we leave. And they had rerouted me. The gate attendant, I will say, was really nice. She got me all my gate numbers and where my my next gate was. And it was very nice of her. Except when they change it mid-flight and nobody tells you and you run to meet your next connector because they're supposed to be closing the doors about the time we stepped off the first flight.
Right.
The problem is I'm a fat kid on no sleep. My coordination is out the window, fairly dehydrated. And about halfway through my sprint to the next gate,
locked up.
My hamstrings locked up. And I'm telling you right now, this kid about went down in the middle of an airport face first. And I'm just packing my bags.
Oh.
So did not make it. I guess I was. Oh no, I didn't make it. That plane had already taken.
Oh, you missed your flight?
Yeah, they had already.
Maybe I did so. I don't know. I was in my own drama at this point, Jason.
Yeah, but he had his own stuff going on. We were done. I mean, changed the flights. And I'm like, forget it. It's too late. I'm at this point. We'll just have to find another flight. And
what airport was this in? San Francisco?
Oh, no, this was in O'Hare because they routed me to freaking Chicago, which is like my least favorite airport to go to.
Nice.
Oh, so you missed your flight.
6 gates is not
where were you
far
supposed
in
to
my
fly
head.
from? You were going from
headed out there?
Yeah,
home?
where were you supposed? What flight were you going for?
We were supposed to go to.
Well, it don't matter. It don't matter. Anyway, you got changed to go through San Francisco, and you still made it.
Yeah, I spent
after
all day
that. It
in
was
San
smooth,
Francisco.
wasn't it? Wasn't it smooth after that?
Oh no, San Francisco was late too, and then my bag that they talked me into checking because I only travel carry on for this reason. I hate checking bags, and Buddy's always got extras. So they convinced me to check my carry on, and I thought, you need to pull your computer out of that bag so you're not hosed on Monday when they lose your crap. So I did, luckily, check my bag. It's the only thing that made it to Eugene on time.
Right now? Is it still
it was in Eugene on time. No, it made it. It made all of its connectors. I don't know what the heck happened there. My bag, I get a text from Delta the first thing in 2 days.
It, but that bag could.
Dude, I'm telling you, I get a text. Through these 2 days of dealing with it, my stuff stopped. The app quit working. I get a text. Your luggage has arrived in Eugene. And I'm thinking, you sorry SOBs. So yeah, I was way late. Danny had to come pick me up. Then we had to wait for almost 2 hours for somebody to get me a bag from behind the
been there
locked
for a while.
door. Yeah, it'd been there all day.
Oh,
yeah.
Funny.
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty wild.
Oh,
but we made it home about midnight, and then the next day I went and made an 1.5 hour round trip to get my car.
Yeah, I'm calling
all for free.
Nice.
I'm calling my.
Buddy's stuff wasn't free when he got all screwed up.
No,
his story's way better.
So I rebooked that noon flight, right, Elijah, and I your wife.
Oh,
thank you. But you need to tell her thank you more often, probably.
Oh,
she's such a good woman. Like, those wives at those events. Man, like they put up with a lot of shit for us. When you're a board member, so you're always busy. I'm a board member at OUSDA. At those events, we're so busy, and they're just left dealing with kids and rejects from Washington and need a ride. Like basically, like we're just gonna. So she gives me a ride drops me off. I'm sitting there at the airport. I'm like, awesome, and I'm talking to my wife, and I hear on the intercom they're like, hey, we've oversold this site. We don't have enough seats. We need. If you have some flexibility in your travel plans, can you please come see the agent? And I'm like, told my wife, and she's like, oh, whatever. And they said, we're offering $500. And I'm like, my wife's like, maybe you should do that. Like, we had just got done paying propane. She's got a cracked windshield. We're like, we got some bills to pay. Anyways, she's like, is it cash? And I'm like, hell, I don't know, sweetheart. I don't really need points because we got a ton of, American Express or Delta points. So I'm like, so anyways, they say 700. She's like, you really need to go ask. I'm like, all right, I'll go. You know what I mean? Like, mom wants to check to pay some bills, right? So I'm like, I go up to the counter and I'm like, hey, is that cash or is that like travel? Because I don't really travel a ton. Like this month is about the most of it. And they're like, oh yeah, you could take Visa gift cards. I'm like, okay, well, $700. Yeah, I can push out to the next flight. And they're like, thank you. They didn't tell me the next flight was full oversold too, right? I'm like thinking so I go sit down and I get on my app and I'm like, well, that flight's full and the next morning's full. So I'm like a 24-hour delay to get out of this airport. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that shit. Maybe I shouldn't have offered this. You know what I mean? I didn't do the math before. I was like, yeah, sure, I can be flexible. And because Jason's whole flight got canceled. So they had to take that 100 people and try to get them out of that airport. You know what I mean? So it just it just fouled everything up. Anyways, so I'm sitting over there. I go back down. I'm scrolling my app, and they're like, "We need 3 more passengers to, volunteer their seats. We're offering $1,500." I'm like, "Oh shit," And I'm not locked in to 700, right? Just because I offered, they said, "Oh, everybody gets the same amount." So I'm like, $1,500, right on. I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, "What? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, baby, we're getting 50. This is the best raffle of the weekend, right?"
Thanks, Delta.
We're gonna go eat some Sizzlers tonight. So I'm like, shit, and they're like $1,600. And I hear them, and then I go back up there just to check in because there's a group of guys up there, and I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. Like, are they handing out the money now or what? You know what I mean? I want to miss my check.
Write me a check.
So yeah, I'll take guns or checks. So like cash or guns. I mean, I'm either one of those right this weekend is good for me. Delta
don't use that
stuff.
Joke.
You got some ARs over there, some pistols. It's just a drawer you open up and be like, that gun and that gun. We're good.
Take your pick.
I can have my seat. So I go up there. There's $1,700 a seat, and I go up there and I hear the 2 people. There's 2 people. There's only 2 people in that whole airport that work for Delta. I mean, they are pretty much the people that check you in, the people at the gate. I think they're the people that fuel the plane and everything. I mean, I think it's 2 people in that whole Delta rep.
Probably.
I'm not sure that they didn't get on and fly us out of there. I don't know. These are the 2 people I seen on Delta every time. Like the pilot is just, he meets you at the whole process is one guy. And so I hear them talking. And they're like, actually, we need 7 people. And I'm like, oh, shit, we're at $1,700. They had a hell of a time getting 4. I'm thinking, oh, shit, yeah. You know what I mean? This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't even have to be up there anymore. I'm like, I don't care what it is now. We were happy at 700. I'm like, 1,700 and they need 3 more. Flights. I don't know where this is going to end, but, So anyway, so I go back down and I'm still like, I'm messaging you, I think, because you were like, well, I can run you.
Oh, you were rubbing it in as I'm licking my wounds in an airport.
Probably. Jason, you would have been there. You'd have been right with me. And so, no, I would have sent Jason on. I'd be like, you go. Yeah, I'll take the cat.
Someone's got to work.
Someone's got to work, Jason. I'll split it with you, Jason. I'll take half of yours. You go.
Yeah, right.
I'll just,
I'd be down with the final price.
So I just go back and I'm like trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of this. I'm looking at the other airlines. I'm looking at United. I'm glad I didn't do that. It sounds like. And so I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get out of this airport because they're going to ask me, you know what I mean? At some point they're going to say, hey, what flights do you want or whatever. And so I'm trying to have a game plan so I can say, hey, put me on this flight, this flight, this flight. I'll get home, doing my homework. I can't find anything out of this airport for like 24 hours. I'm like, shit, this is not great. Anyways, they call everybody up to the desk and, there's like 7 of us up there. So they got their 7 people. Maybe it might've been 8 people up there. I don't know, but there was like a pile of people and they're like, well, we only need 3 now. Right. And so the one dude goes, well, what was your high bid? And she goes, $3,000 with first class. And at this point, so they couldn't get a seat. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted to go, but now nobody wants to do it. Everybody's like, no, I don't need to go. I don't, nobody wants to get on that plane now.
Right.
Now that everybody heard $3,000 in first class seats, I'm like, nobody wants on the plane.
Sure.
And I'm like, damn, like $3,000. Like that's a chunk of change. You know what I mean? And, so anyway,
this is about when you're messaging me too.
What's that?
I said, this is about where you're messaging me, like, let me know, like, I'm on the plane.
Yeah,
I'm off the plane. I'm on the plane.
At some point, I'm like, what? I told Elijah, I was like, dude, like, this is where it's going. I may need to ride to Grand Rapids or whatever. And you're kind of leaving. And I'm like, just hang tight. Don't turn left. You know what I mean? Because you may need to turn right and come pick me up. I don't know. and you're like, I'm at that point now. I'm like, go grab another beer. You've already had how many? I don't know. One more ain't gonna hurt you. Just go get a sandwich. Go get something. Just buy me like 20 minutes so I can figure out what. Because I'm like, it's like a showdown. Like there's like 7 people, and the people at the counter didn't do a really good job of like having a list. You know what I mean? Like to be like, here's the one, number 1, 2, number 3. Cause they're like, well, who wants to go and who doesn't? It's like a group. It's like, you're like tribal and you're voting people off.
Survivor.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, this is how you're going to do this? Like, we're just going to vote each other. I'm going to like fight each other for who shove people on the plane. Like, go get in your seat. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to keep my cool. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not a real boisterous person anyway. So I'm like playing it cool or whatever. And I'm just sitting in the back, just listening. And, you know, these people are both like, well, I don't need to go. I don't need to go. Everybody's wanting, you know, you can tell they just don't want to get on the seat. And there was a couple there that were, well, there was a couple people there that were going to Spain, and they're like, oh, this will help our Spain trip. And I'm feeling bad. You know, I'm like, dude, all I'm going to do is go buy guns or something with it. You know, buy a windshield for a Ford Explorer and a gun or something. I don't know. And so I'm like, oh, whatever. Well, anyways, they call my name and I go up there and I, you know, they're like, well, you got your seat, whatever. And I'm like, I'm cool either way. You know what I mean? I said, but I'll be honest. I was the first person to offer at 700. So I know I was the first person on the list. And basically now everybody else is greedy behind me. They're like, whatever. I said, but these two, you know, these two Delta workers, they were having a hell of a time. The computers aren't working. I mean, it's like, you can tell that they're having a bad day, and I'm feeling for them. So I'm like, guys, I'm like, whatever you need me to do. If you need me to get on that plane because it makes your life easier, I totally will. I said, could you just like notate my account or my reservation that, you know what I mean? That I was one of the ones that, an early one, but I just, because you guys need me to get on the plane right now because you got too many people who want to stay off. And I mean, the plane is like an hour late. It's like 45 minutes from takeoff because they got to figure this out before they can take off for some reason. Right. They can't. So I'm like, so I'm feeling the pressure for them because they're just like, you know, pulling their hair out. So anyway, so I get my ticket, and I had gotten upgraded already to my medallion status. So I had a first class seat. So I go back into the plane and I sit down. I was just like, make sure I got my seat because I got that upgrade. I'm like, don't give it anybody else. So I sit down, and that couple that was going to Spain was behind me. You know what I mean? I could see them. They're like, oh, you got booted too? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah, I got on here. And I'm taking my water. You know what I mean? I'm sipping some water in there, and I don't know, like 5 minutes later, the gal comes back, the pilot or whoever it was works for Delta. One of the two people that works for Delta in Traverse City. She comes up, she kneels next to me, and she's like, $3,000. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. And I'm thinking, just because I had said something, you know what I mean? That it was just like crazy. I was going to get the credit voucher too. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, you know, like I got the plane seat, but she's like, oh yeah, we got you covered for your voucher. And so I crack it open. I'm taking another sip. You know what I mean? And then she walks off the plane, and I'm about ready to like flip everybody off, like bitches, yeah, see how that done? You know what I mean? Like everybody's looking at me, and she pops her head out by the cockpit and looks at me like, get your ass off the plane now.
Now we gotta go.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
You want my seat? You want this?
Yeah. So it's like, oh, one or the other. You don't get both, right? Yeah, right now. I got to get off right now. Okay. Sorry. And so I take that water. I'm like, I'm taking my water. We got the peanuts to go. Can I get my peanuts to go? You know,
right. Give me that Stroop waffle.
I get off and walk out there, and then it took, you know, the plane took off, and I was like, I told a lie because that's why I texted you. I'm like, I'm on the plane. I'm talking to my wife, and I text you. I'm like, I'm on the plane. I'm out of here. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, no, just kidding. Not back off the plane.
Turn around.
And then after that, everything was smooth. From there, Elijah, you gave me a ride across the state of Michigan. I don't know how many miles we covered.
Oh, it was few, man. It was right about 130, 140 miles.
Yeah, I feel bad. I got a little thank you package in the mail.
I was going to say, how bad you feel?
It ain't $3,000. I can tell you it's not $3,000 worth of Visa cards, Elijah, but we'll get you something.
The best part was I busted his chops on the whole trip over there about him getting upgraded and me sitting with the peasants. And then all this played out. And I'm like, this is too funny.
Oh. So we're driving, and Elijah, he's just having a good old time, like driving, and he's starting to come over to the left lane. And I look over, and there's this like Chevy truck. And I mean, we're talking inches, like maybe millimeters. I don't know, centimeters, millimeters, or inches. It was like, I'm surprised you didn't make trade paint.
I mean, I learned how to drive like that bear hunting, but yeah, I'm at home. I can do that.
Yeah,
like Days of Thunder out there.
But I'm like, there's a truck. And I don't know what I said, but it wasn't enough because he's looking over and he looks over and he's like, oh shit, there's a truck. He jerks that steering wheel over. And I'm like, well, we didn't get killed by the truck, but we're going to start rolling here. Cause you know, like the way you swerved, I was like, we're going to start losing connection here with the tires in the ground. You kept it together. You know, you had a little bit of fishtail there, but we pulled it out.
Oh. Like I said, I mean, I'm basically Dale Earnhardt. I mean, we
Robin's racing.
You played it cool, but you were like I said, I think it straddled you a little bit too much. I was going to feel bad. I was like, well, I'm going to start hitchhiking. You're going to have to figure out you got a broken truck. I'm going to see you later, Elijah.
6 callers ahead of you, Jimmy.
Why don't you call your wife? She's got 3 kids. She's going to have to come pick you up too. I mean, they're going to be like, never again are we ever offering that dude a ride, ever. We're not going to do anything nice for that guy. He don't appreciate nothing. Take him to the airport. He doesn't get on the plane. Takes $3,000. And then we drive him to Grand Rapids. We wreck our truck, and he just hops on. He sticks his thumb out to get the next ride. All that dude cares about is getting home. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, I definitely put on that one. Definitely peed a little bit.
Oh.
So what, you had to go out of a different airport?
Yeah, I went out a different airport. I went out because I knew that if I stayed in Traverse City, either I was just going to keep collecting checks because I wasn't going to make it home. I was going to be like,
bad.
You know what I mean? Like,
be like you're at the auction house.
Yeah, just be like, hey, I'll just put me on the next one. That's going to be overbooked, and I'm going to hop out. I'll just stay in Michigan and just walk around the Traverse City Airport collecting checks. Like, this is my time to go up and get paid. Let me go get another check at $3,000 a piece. I probably would have jumped off the next plane.
Next year, I'm going to plan like 3 days after this banquet. Next time we go out, and I'm going to plan 3 days after on vacation pay, so that if they offer it, I can just snag it all.
Exactly. Be like, oh, nope, and then go out for a day. Come back, get your flight, pass on it.
Yep, exactly.
I think it was just, it was actually oversold on my MSP flight to Portland, I think. And they asked again, is there anybody for flexible plans? And I'm thinking, you can't afford me, ma'am. Like, they're like 500. I'm like, we gotta keep going right now. 500. I've already done this once, and they only had one. It's kind of like when you go to Vegas and you look at the odds, you're like, yeah, the odds. And this one gal jumps up and runs over there, and she's like, I got it right here. $500. I'm like, you messed up.
Should have held out.
You could have done better.
Where's your poker face?
Oh. But yeah, so that was that was the story of travel. I call it the Sunday Delta raffle, and I won the raffle. It's like you got the Friday Blitz or the Saturday Blitz.
All I could think of was Jerry Clower through the whole thing and the Delta Connector bit. And I'm like, this seems like Jerry Clower's running this show today, man.
Dude, the whole day was Jerry Clower.
Dude, the whole thing. And on no sleep, that was the roughest part. I'm like, I can't even fall asleep because I won't wake up. I will miss my crap all the way home. If I miss one and fall asleep, it's over. So it was like, this flight is brought to you by Mountain Ops power bars, energy drinks, like anything I could do to stay awake the whole trip home.
Huh. It wasn't that bad for me, Jason. I got a good night's sleep. I was at the airport at, I don't know, 10:30, whenever.
Mattress was a little lumpy with all that bread under it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a great event. It was well worth the troubles getting home. I had a great time.
Your guys' shirts. So the one thing we did differently is we brought that. This is the first time we've tried that outside of Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin, we've done shirts, this heat press. We did it last year. But Wisconsin's such a big deal that we either ship a lot of items out there or pallets of, we'll either freight a bunch of stuff or whatever, because it's a lot. So these events, these one day, dinner style events, we can't just freight in a pallet of stuff and try to figure out how to pallet out. So we come up with a system where we took our heat press and then we allowed people, we could talk about your shirts. So we had these shirts for Michigan designed, right? And then people could build their own Michigan sweatshirt. And so anyways, you're wearing one right now. I don't know if people can see it or not, but it worked out pretty good for us. Actually, it was pretty smooth, except for Jason screwing up a shirt or two.
Dude, I screwed up one and you screwed up one.
I screwed up
two. I take it back. I screwed up one membership shirt and I screwed up one of our shirts.
What was the membership shirt?
The one that I went to press it, like I was doing the pre-iron stage. And
But you also were not like, Jason just throwing that shit on the press. And I'm like, Jason, you gotta have this shit like measured out. Like,
hey, we got it measured out. It was I knew which one.
He's putting logos down below the boobs. I'm like, Jason, you gotta put them on top of the freaking chest. Okay,
that's true.
You can't put them on the belly. We're not showing the belly off. I don't want my logo on a big old belly.
If your name's Vern, you are. That was like $120 sweatshirt by the time we were done making him look like a bass boat. No offense, Vern. He's Elijah's buddy. We can say that.
Let's just back up a little bit, because I don't think I ever understood what you just said there. Can you explain the Vern situation? You just throw that comment out like everybody was there.
Well, no. So, because the deal was...
Hold on, let Elijah talk for a minute. Can you make it in a nice way, Elijah?
So I was just going to say, like, basically, if you picture a shirt done like by an amateur tattoo artist who's practicing on their own skin, that's what your shirt would be. It's all done.
So you can take these heat transfers and you can press them on a shirt. And so we had one customer, Vern, which I am like, if there's a high dollar shirt, because we were like $10, we press whatever the hell you want. I didn't think that meant whatever the hell you want. I mean, Vern's like, whatever the hell I want. I'm like, whatever the hell you want. And he's like, okay, I want that over here, this over there, put that on the hood.
Oh, I was like going to Subway, man. It was just checking boxes. And I thought he was messing with me at first. And I know he said that. He's like, you think I'm messing with you? I'm like, dude, I don't know if you are.
Because he first told you, he goes, I'm not going to advertise for you.
That's what he said. He's like, cut off the W, because I like supporting you guys, but I don't want to just advertise. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Cut it off. And he's like, oh, no, don't throw that away. We're going to move that over here. And then we're going to put this over here. And then we're going to add this here. And then we're going to pocket here. And then we're going to do a double on the back. You think we can put one over the ribs? And I'm like, holy cow. By the time we were done, I had a sunburn from the stinking heat press. It was so hot. I swear, there was a bunch on that
At some point, I'm thinking, we can make this reversible, Vern. You know what I mean? We can flip this bitch upside out. We can start all over.
So I said all he was missing was the old English belly button tattoos, like W arched across it.
Oh. But anyways, if you're not following, it's a heat press. So you press the design onto the shirt. And so we have a blank shirt and we have a design and we heat press it on there. And apparently we can put a lot of different designs on one shirt. Oh.
I did a couple like that. They were just like stacked. Doug did one too, where it was like 3 different dog breeds and the W, and it came out really cool. Actually, they had a good eye, and being able to do it like that, it was cool to customize it and see what people came up with.
Yeah, that was the coolest part about it, was watching people come up with their own shirts.
But we did sell quite a few of the Michigan ones, and that was the cool part, because that's one we did in conjunction with your guys' club. But you want to talk about that?
Right.
Since that was your mastermind.
Yeah, so and we got Michigan, OUSDA, Eastern Idaho, and Idaho Houndsmen Association. All we've gotten a shirt design. It may be their logo or maybe one that we came up with. for Michigan, we kind of did the design for you guys. We come up with this idea and this style because you guys didn't have a newer style. So we worked on something, and it seemed like a lot of people liked it. But you know how hard it is to design something with the UP in that logo? Like, if you're not sure what the UP
but he wanted
is,
to cut it off.
yeah, but I'm like, what is this part? Can't we mad? We just take this part off. This is really hard to design around. Just so you know, it's really hard. Like that UP thing. It's like those UP guys screw everything up. You know what I mean? Like, anyways, so what we did is we designed this shirt where we got the dog treeing, and I'm like, well, maybe if we make it like the state of Michigan is more like a rock, you know what I mean? So we size the dog so it's like its feet are on the state of Michigan like a rock, and then the UP part looks like a cloud, or you know what I mean? It's something like a person from Michigan would know what that is, but everybody else in the world doesn't know that that's Michigan. You know what I mean?
They don't know we were here for the banquet.
They don't know the UP part. You know what I mean? What is it, the thumb? What do you say?
The mitten, yeah, like when you ask people from Michigan, where are you at, right, Elijah?
Exactly. Yeah. Use the hand, dude. You throw it out, point with your hand. Oh.
Yeah.
And then the UP go this
way. It's universal. It's a different language out there, buddy. You spend enough time. It's like, yeah.
So
it's different.
So we had come up with, we put the bear, silhouetted in the state. So you got a bear in there, and then we got a dog treeing. And anyways, we sized the dog so that you see the dog, you see the bear, and people who know what Michigan is will notice that that's Michigan. And people who don't know what Michigan is will think that's a rock. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? On the design. And it came out really cool. Like, I like the design. And anyways, so you could buy that design and get it put on a shirt.
Yeah, it was a huge hit, man. Loved it.
Yeah, I think we sold 54. And so I told Jess, I was like, because I don't know how you got counted, Jason. You counted 63. But we counted again yesterday, and we come up with 54. I think you messed up. So,
and I thought that's what we had talked about there too. I think I was over on the inventory count and starting inventory.
I don't know. Well, we used your inventory numbers. I don't know. But anyways, so Elijah, we got a check coming to you guys, 54, and then we're just going to round it up $100 so that if Jason was right, you guys are good. If Jason was wrong, I'm going to take it out of his check. I'll show Jason $100 and I'll pay you guys. So you got $100 of Jason. Either way, we're just going to. That one's going to bounce. Jason's check's probably going to bounce, but we'll cover it for him. Just talk to me.
It was a big hit, though. The people, your club really supported it too. And you can still get them online, and we're still doing the same thing where we're donating $10 for every one of those shirts purchased. Yep. And you can find them on the.
Yeah. What? If you didn't get to the Michigan Bear Hunters Association event, you can still go buy that shirt on dusupply.com. The thing you can't do is you can't burn it up. Like, we don't have it set up that you can buy and put 10 designs on one shirt on the website. You get one design on a shirt. Maybe one day we'll get it where we can have front and back, because that was the cool thing was people were putting this design on the back. Another, the way we lined it up is you buy the shirt or the sweatshirt, $40 for the sweatshirt, $30 or $25 for the t-shirt, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was $25
and
then
40 with you could buy another design for $10 and we would put it on there. So a lot of people would be like, oh, I'll take this design on the front. I want this one on the back, and I want this sleeve design. You know what I mean? Because we had some sleeve designs. And that worked out really cool. Like I had a good time, and it was fun watching people design their own shirts. And some of those shirts come out like pretty kick ass. I don't know, but maybe one day we'll be able to figure out how to do that online.
The Vern outfit package.
I want this one on the armpit, and I want this one on the hood.
The best part of his hoodie was when he had me put it across the back of the hood. And he's like, so when you put your hood up, people can see it. I'm like, okay, man, let's do it. And we hammered it on there. And it's perfect. It was like the perfect arch right in the middle of the back of his head. My placement was perfect on Burns.
Oh, so it was perfect there.
It was sweet.
Yeah. You couldn't miss him. I mean, it was like you say, like a bass fisherman, like
it looked like a bass boat,
sponsored by the same guy over and over again. Like, yeah, sponsored by W and W, sponsored by W. Did we mention we're sponsored by W?
Zoom crankbaits. Just roll down the list.
We kept talking him into adding more too, like he'd be done, and then he'd be like, "Hey, Vern, you should get this." You put more.
Yeah. Oh, he did. He came back a couple of times. It was awesome.
Yeah. I was
ketchup stains and all.
Yeah. Oh, we just pressed it again. Cook the ketchup in it. Like, okay, we're gonna just press this one. Heat it up.
No, it was cool. It worked out really well.
It
was fun.
So anyways, thank you for being a guinea pig, Michigan. The heat press, that was all a test run. It worked out great. We got a couple changes we'll make for the next one as far as like the sleeve prints and the short sleeve prints. I think we're gonna add more. I think we were lacking on our sleeve prints. You know what I mean? Like I found some bear tracks and I'm like, shit, we could have had those in Michigan that would have been really cool that people would have liked. So we kind of came limited on the sleeves and the short sleeve prints, and I apologize for that because there was sometimes that people had to make a white bear track when we could have we would have had the black one available or something. So next year, if we come back next year, we'll have a much better representation on the sleeve prints because that was definitely where we were lacking. So what to wrap this up, what's the Michigan bear hunters doing? I mean, what is the message they need to get out right now? We'll put you on the spot. We'll be serious for a minute. We've had enough laughs on Delta's expense and
join. Like that's our biggest thing. Join. We need people. We need people. Yeah. Like really, like we need support. We need to get and through joining us, I mean, then you get the newsletter. You can start participating what's going on legislatively. You can start following these things closer and being a voice for us all. Like it takes us all. Just join, man.
Talking to Thorman while I was there, it sounds like your legislative, the governor, the state, the House have all slipped a little bit towards the D's, and you're sitting, you're a little bit vulnerable. Is I guess a good way to say it. You know that you guys you're still working what you can, but you just don't have the stick that you used to have to stop things or do whatever. And so it's really critical that the numbers and the monetary money support come in where people join and keep that ready.
Absolutely. That wraps it up, completely. It has. Michigan right now, we're almost a fully Democratic state, and it's for hunters, fishermen of any description. Like it's a very uncertain and potentially scary time. So, get out there, be active, make your voice heard in the right way, keep things clean, and be positive and get your dollars to where they need to be to fight for the things that you love.
Yeah. So we have a way for them to join on our site on if you go on W Hunting Supply and you look, and we changed the name because it used to be Join the Fight. What are we calling it now? Because we got the podcast in there now. And so we changed it, but there's a link on there that says associations and
it's DU Podcast and Partners.
Yeah, partners, associations and partners. And right there you can DU Podcast and Partners. And so you can click on the MBHA link right there, and you can buy one of these cool shirts that we're making. And you can also, if you we need to have the memberships.
The membership, it's not on there.
Yeah, we need to have your membership put in there. So we'll fix that by the time this launches, so that you can also join the association. That That should be, yeah, Michigan Bear Hunter. So that membership link should be in there. So it should be your clothing and the membership. So you can buy a membership and you can make a cool sweatshirt, t-shirt, whatever you want for youth or yourself, and support Michigan. And I highly encourage you to join as many associations as you can. Like that, the more the merrier, the more stronger they are, and the more better off we are. The other thing I wanted to talk about really quick is image. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple decisions me and Jason have had to make on this podcast where I'm just going to be honest. We had to pull the plug and not launch a podcast that was done because we didn't like the message. We listened to it and we didn't feel it was helpful to houndsmen. And so I was really, I guess the first thing we did is we just said, hey, we need to edit this. You know what I mean? The first thing was like, let's edit this down. It was a really good podcast. There was some really good information and some topics that were really good and cool, but they dove into some subjects that just shouldn't be out talked about, at least in the manner they were, right? It's like there's sometimes it's like we just don't need, it's like Facebook, you know what I mean? There's sometimes there's just stuff you just don't want to put on Facebook. And so we had to make this hard decision. We had a couple people, I think Elijah, you might have been one of them we sent it to, just to double check our thinking on it, because it was a really difficult decision to tell somebody, yeah, we're not going to launch your podcast. You know what I mean? Like you're a part of our team, our commitment, but this breaches some trust with our customer and our mission. And the last thing I want is somebody to take our podcast and play it in some commission meeting or some legislative meeting and saying, see, this is what these guys do. You know, all they care about is, you know, XYZ. Or this is the talking points that the antis use, and they could use the talking points of other houndsmen against us. And so even though it wasn't me saying it or Jason saying it, it was still on our platform. So we had to make the decision. It was like, this language could be harmful if it was in the wrong hands. And so we just decided, nope, it's not going to get released. That goes for social media. That goes for posting some of these things. And I know I'm going to catch some flack. You know, there's always drama when you try to police yourself, because there is a line between hiding, you know what I mean? And I won't say being ashamed, but that's what everybody always says. Oh, you're just ashamed of, I'm not going to be ashamed of what I do. I'm not going to be ashamed of what I do. Right? I mean, you heard this, Elijah, right?
Oh, yeah.
All the time we hear it.
Yeah. And so the truth is it's not that I'm ashamed of what we do. It's that we don't need to make our lives harder by giving ammunition so that we're talking about coyotes, a huge pile of coyotes. You know what I mean? You kill a bunch of coyotes and there's 60 coyotes in a pile or whatever it is. That message is really difficult to try to explain to a legislator or, you know what I mean? Somebody who's making the laws and says, what good? Why do we need to have a pile of 60 dead coyotes or whatever it is that, you know, the image? And that's the type of thing that we're talking about, is like, hey, we just have to be cautious. And it doesn't mean we hide. It doesn't mean you can't be proud of what we do. But when we're talking to a legislator and somebody's talking to a legislator, we need our best foot forward. And we don't want to be talking about this picture or that picture that makes us look bad. I mean, I'll be honest, the picture of a cougar on a Lamborghini, everybody's probably seen that by now. I look at that and I'm like, what's the point? Man, you know what I mean? I don't know if he's a customer or not. I haven't looked into it that much, and I don't know the full story of it, but I look at that and I go, is that helping us or is that hurting us? And I don't think, it may not be hurting us, but I don't think it's helping us. You know what I mean? And so that's the other topic I wanted to come on. Jason, are you locked up? Or are you there?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm just listening. Am I missing something? It's tough.
It is. And it goes, I mean, it's a long ways. Like like still take pictures of your harvest and things like that, and be proud of what you're doing. Be proud of what your dogs are doing. But let's clean up the blood. Let's, you know what I mean? You don't need to show pictures of your dogs overhauling a bait up bobcat. I mean, these things, you don't see it, but we can still be proud of who we are, what we've accomplished, what our dogs are doing. We can make it tasteful. And it's just being mindful. I mean, you know, it's like, it's real simple. I mean, would your grandma want to see that? You know what I mean? Like, think a little thing. I mean, it's silly to say, but geez, oh, Pete's. I mean, I know my grandma would be like, disgusting, you know? And so you just little things like that, and that whole image, and then it becomes a trend. And then everyone's doing it, you know?
And I think we're making so much ground on hunting and like some of these brands, whether you like, I'll use Meat Eater, but you know what I mean? Like, they're making some progress to get dogs into mainstream hunting, and we're making those connections, and it's a slow process. You know what I mean? Like, it's a slow process to change the image. The image, at least in Oregon and Washington, the image is, it's just a bunch of dumb redneck hound guys that are just, you know, they don't care about nothing but killing stuff. And it's like, no, that's not who we are. Like, that's not who we are. That's what they think we are, right? And there's guys, and there's efforts, and there's work, and it's a long process to change that image and work one person at a time, especially in the Capitol and in the legislature and stuff like that. And so it just, like, that's where the battle happens. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it's not happening against my friends on Facebook. Nobody's going to care. Like, somebody may not say anything. They may think, oh, that's not very tasteful. You know what I mean? But nobody's going to come out and go, oh, that offends me. Like, everybody's going to go, yeah, I get that. You know, whatever. Yeah. It's outside your circle. It's not for the friends that you have. You know what I mean? It's for the friends that you're not seeing. It's for the legislators. It's for the antis that are going to take your image, Wolf Patrol, and then they're going to go push that out to a bunch of other people. And it's like, well,
and they have no values. They'll use anything.
Yeah. So
that was my fear, is somebody fighting for our rights with something on our platform being used against them. It was just sickening.
I think the contests, the hunting contests, are up against the ropes. You know what I mean? And that's I've seen, at least I can tell you in Washington State, you know what I mean? I can tell you in Oregon, I can tell you in California, where these things happen. And they haven't happened in every state. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a while before they get to every state. But those are the things that they're working on. And it's like, you may agree with them, but they're gone. And some states, they're already gone. And it's just a matter of time before they move to the next state, because they're going to Colorado. They're going to Arizona. They're going everywhere they can. They don't care what state you live in. Like, honestly, they are just waiting for the opportunity and figuring out where they can strike. So we don't want to give them ammo. We want to make sure we keep it tasteful. I think anyways.
I will say Mike Thorman gave all of you guys a big kudos, though, when he was speaking to the crowd, because he said, you know, Michigan is really good about keeping a good image.
What time did Mike get up there, Elijah? You guys got to get him up earlier.
Generally he is, but I have no idea when he got up there. I mean, it was pretty deep into the weeds at that point.
I love Mike Thorman, okay? I mean, I love him, but boy, people were ready for he'd be just, and then I'm going to get off of here. And everybody's like, woo, clapping and stuff. Like, yeah. And he's like, but one more thing. I mean, everybody's like, oh.
Guy's got a lot to say, man. He's busy.
He is. But I can tell you, he wasn't reading the room that night. He must have had a couple beers, because he wasn't reading the room. The room was like, okay, Mike, let's get this damn raffle going so I can go have a beer and I can go to bed. I got a plane to catch in the morning.
Oh, it was a great time. Great event. Great people. Great cause. I'm glad we went. Thanks for the trip. I had a good time, even if I did just screw stuff up.
Yeah, no, it was good. I had a good time. It was really enjoyable meeting everybody at Michigan. Michigan, thank you. It was awesome. I'm really happy that we made it out there.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it.
I was really appreciative to all the members. Everybody was so warm and welcoming, and one of the reasons for me traveling, Michigan's hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to get into Michigan just because of the logistics of it. But if Delta's offering $3,000 check,
it was $3,000.
Okay, let's try this again. I'll take the $3,000 check on the way out. I can do that every time. But as my kids are getting older, it's a little easier for me to travel. You know what I mean? There's some logistics that have been changing. I know it has to have been like 8 years ago that I made it out there. And then I know Mike and Matt made it out there after that when you guys were in the treetops. And so it's been quite a while since I've been out there. So I just want to, it was a warm welcome. So I think we'll make it a little more often. It's going to be one of my goals, especially now that kids are older and stuff like that. We're going to try and hit different associations. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, I mean, we really appreciated it. I mean, it was a great time. And, again, you guys are doing so much to support all of us too. Giving all these hound organizations a platform and a voice is so incredibly important. And, I mean, we're all in it together.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We can just pat each other on the back the rest of the. We got another 5 minutes. No, you're good. No, you're good. You guys are doing good.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's end it there before it gets too deep. Talk to you guys soon.
Yes. See ya.